I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, you know how much I love 5-4, which is now Menlo Club. Remember, I've been a member for over 2 years now, and I love them. Well, I got together with the folks at Menlo Club, and they're offering my listeners a 50% off plus a free pair of 5-4 sunglasses when you sign up in May. Menlo Club is great clothes. They come to your door every month. It's $60. That includes tax. That includes shipping. You get to select your sizes, your styles. It's really super easy. And like I said, the clothes are great. So go to menloclub.com, sign up, use the promo code FSP, as in Fascination Street Podcast, and you will get 50% off your first month plus a free pair of 5-4 sunglasses. Thanks, guys.
I'm Vinnie Tortorich, and I've been in the health and fitness profession for 36 years. There were several things missing in the 1970s. There were no big box gyms, certainly no Jane Fonda dancing around yet, no fitness ads on television.
You just shake it, back and forth.
And there were no fat people. So the big question becomes, when did we start getting fat? Let's look at a myth. 8-ounce glasses of water per day. Where did that come from? So am I to believe that Shaquille O'Neal and Peter Dinklage are supposed to have the same amount of water on any given day? Where did it come from? I remember there was an Oprah show where she rolled out a little radio flyer wagon full of fat and go, hey, this is horrible for you. Don't eat this. And then she tells people, go eat bread.
I love bread.
My question is always, how do we end up here? It's about time that you guys knew the truth.
Hey guys, this is a bonus episode. Previous lovely guest Vinnie Tortorich is now promoting an Indiegogo campaign for a documentary called Fat, a Documentary, where he breaks down the myths and the misleadings of current and previous weight loss and health philosophies as far as eating is concerned. Pay attention in this episode because I am offering a bonus gift to anybody who contributes to his Indiegogo campaign and sends me some proof. So pay attention, see what you get, and see how to get it. I loved having Vinnie on again. He was a great guest the first time, and he was a great guest the second time. Really nice guy. He also has a podcast. Go check out everything Vinnie Tortorich at VinnieTortorich.com. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
This is Steve.
Steve, hi, Vinnie Tortorich.
Vinnie Tortorich, what is going on, my man?
How's it going, man?
Good, man. You have been a busy, busy boy since we last saw each other.
I try to be. Yeah, I try to keep moving. You know, it's either you keep moving or you die.
I keep hearing that. All right, so welcome to Fascination Street again, the first repeat guest. How are you doing, Vinnie Tortorich?
Am I really the first repeat guest?
You are.
Oh wow, I'm flattered.
Good.
I don't know what to say.
I'm flattered to have you again.
Let me start with this. What's been going on since the last time we spoke?
Okay. So the last time we spoke was in Los Angeles last July, I think, or I don't remember. Anyway, it was last year. And since then, I have sort of dipped my baby toe into NSNG. I have cut out just about all sugar and I would say most carbs. I mean, you know, I'll have grain here and there. I'm by no means all in, so to speak, but I've done really well. I've lost 30 pounds since I saw you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, so what you're saying is you live in Texas and you're no saint when it comes to, I mean, every now and then fried catfish falls in there or something like that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, something like that. I'm a real big fan of hamburgers, and Whataburger is a real big deal down here, and I love them. I don't get there as much as I wish I could. I think the biggest The thing that impacted me the most with my weight, I think, was switching to heavy whipping cream for my coffee in the morning. I think that's probably what made the biggest, because I used to have half and half and sugar, and then I got rid of those, and now it's just heavy cream, and I'm really happy with it.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Everybody finds. I always say water seeks its own level. And everybody finds where they're comfortable with all of this. At the end of the day, Stephen, the only thing I care about is that people are healthy. Because as a nation, we've gotten very unhealthy. Not everybody has to look like, Stallone from First Blood Part 2. But we all deserve to be healthy. And I feel like we've been lied to for so long that nobody finds that middle ground. Look, I talk to people all day long on social media, and some people want to look a certain way. Some people, hey, I want to look like I looked in high school. I want to look like I looked when I was the captain of the football team. I want to look, and that's all good and fine. But the majority of the people just want to be healthy. And by just consuming, massive amounts of complex carbohydrates or processed carbs, grains, sugars, and all that, you just can't be healthy. It's not even possible. It's not probable. That's all we're trying to do here, and for the past 6 years since I started the podcast and started doing all this and wrote the book, that's all I've been doing is trying to get people healthy.
You mentioned that we've sort of been lied to about food in this country kind of for a while. So what did you mean by that?
Yeah, right around the time I was born, I'm 55. We were trying to come up with guidelines as to what was healthier. And there was a scientist in England named John Yudkin, who was saying, look, sugar is the problem. Eating carbohydrates, massive amounts of carbs, it's just going to make people fat and unhealthy. And here in America, there was a guy named Ansel Keys who was pushing a different idea. He was saying, well, meat is bad for you. Saturated fat is bad for you. It's going to clog your arteries, and all this stuff. Well, it turns out there's no truth behind saturated fat clogging arteries. That's been debunked left and right. But we went with Ansel Keys. We didn't listen to John Yudkin at all. We went with the American, and we spread our love of eating grains all over the world. And as a world, not just as Americans, as a world, we've gotten fatter and more unhealthy. The Europeans can't keep up health-wise. The Americans certainly can't keep up health-wise. But it's all because we went down this quote-unquote heart-healthy grain road that led us right to where we are today.
So do you think that was on purpose, or do you think that they just didn't know?
I don't think it was on purpose. I think at some point along the way they knew. We certainly knew by the 70s people were gaining weight. But what we did was we just doubled down. We went, all right, wait a minute. Eat more healthy grains. Eat more sugar. I remember in the 80s, these snacks came out called Snack Wells, where it was zero fat. And they said, hey, you can eat all you want because there's no fat in this. It's just sugar and grains. And we came up with all these fitness bars, power bars, and we started drinking Gatorade. When I was a kid, the only time you even saw Gatorade was on the sideline of a football game. And then it was all of a sudden it was in stores, and hey, drink this, you need your electrolytes. Well, hell, there are no electrolytes in Gatorade. And then Weight Watchers and all these companies came out with Slim Fast, eat our Slim Fast bars. There's no fat. And meanwhile, the whole time we're just getting fatter and fatter, doing this protocol. And so once we knew, instead of going, wait, we made a mistake, we just doubled down and said, let's do more of this, which is completely backwards.
So you said you're 55, right?
I am 55.
So when did you find out that this was wrong? Like, when did you find out that we have sort of been misled?
That's a good question, Steve. And that's a question I'm asked quite often, and I can't put my finger on it. What I can say is in 1981 was the first time I started questioning all this, because I was young, I was in college, I was at a medical university, I was at Tulane University in New Orleans. I was going through, I was in class with a bunch of kids who wanted to be doctors. all I wanted to be was a PE teacher in life. All they cared about was making A's, and all I cared about was learning everything I could learn. And A didn't matter to me, although I did, make the dean's list almost every semester. I'm bragging right now, but, I did really well. But I started questioning in class one day with a professor where he said, fat is the body's preferred fuel. And our bodies love to, we need fat. That's what our bodies run on. And I wrote that down. I wrote down everything the professor said. And then a couple of weeks later, we were talking about aerobic activity or something. And he was talking about carbohydrates and how the body prefers carbohydrates when we're doing cardio-style movement. And I remember raising my hand and going, wait a minute, I have notes here from 2 weeks ago where you said fat was the preferred fuel. And he goes, well, yeah, when you're just sitting around or just moving throughout your day, your body burns fat. But when you're doing aerobics, your body needs more sugar. And I went, why is it our body is perfectly fine burning one fuel source, but then arbitrarily just switches to another? And that was my first clue as to why this was going on. But shortly thereafter, probably another year went by, and I was doing a lab, again, at Tulane. We were in the lab. And I'm sure you've seen these Gatorade commercials, Steve, where how they have, they'll have like an NFL quarterback or someone hooked up on a treadmill, hooked up to all these wires, and they have a big mask over their face, go, Gatorade, we're learning what the body runs on, or something like that.
Yeah.
We were doing one of those experiments where we were doing VO2 max, and we were looking at athletes, and we had them in a lab, and we had them hooked up, and we were pricking their fingers to see when they hit lactic acid threshold in their blood. And we had the big mask on their face, and we were checking their respiratory and what they were losing, through their breath. And we had them, we were monitoring their heart and their cardio and the whole thing. And we knew exactly how many calories these athletes were burning, right? And we're in the lab with our little lab coats on, and we're studying this. And I remember having an athlete on that treadmill for 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes. I think it might have been 30 minutes. And for 20 of those minutes, we had them at, anaerobic threshold. We had them at aerobic threshold, going into anaerobic threshold. So these people were putting out a lot of energy. And I took note that after 30 minutes, this individual that was at his threshold, a 6-foot-tall guy, 170-pound, lean athlete, had barely burned 265 calories, right? And after my lunch, I was sitting on a bench with this girl who was also in the lab. She was a friend of mine, and we were just grabbing lunch. We were getting ready to go back in the lab, and she handed me a bag of M&Ms that she was eating. Now, back then, M&Ms, I don't know if they still make these because I haven't had M&Ms in so many years. They came in little tiny bags. It's like a one-serving thing. Now I think they have like super size or jumbo size and all that. But there was like a small bag back then where you basically had a couple of handfuls of M&Ms. And I remember while we were sitting there, she handed me the bag, and I took a hit off of the bag. I looked on the back, and it showed total calories. And the total calories were somewhere near 300. It was like 265 or 270. And I looked at that and I went, And my friend said, what? I said, I'm just looking at the calories on this bag of M&Ms. She goes, yeah, what about it? I said, well, they say that there's 265 or 270 calories in this one little bag. She goes, yeah, so what? I said, that athlete we were just working with right before lunch, how long was he on that treadmill again? And she goes, 30 minutes. I said, how long did we have him at anaerobic threshold? And she goes, 20 minutes. I said, how many calories did he burn? She goes, I don't know, it was 265, 270. I said, okay, so someone would have to work at their anaerobic threshold or close to it for the better part of 30 minutes in order to burn this 2-handful bag of M&Ms. And that's when I first started thinking, okay, calorie in, calorie out cannot be the way people gain and lose weight. Yeah, so it was little things like that along the way where I started getting clues, Steve. Now, I know that's a long answer to a very simple question you asked, but those kinds of things just stuck in my brain. And then after college, when I was on my own and started just continuing to study on my own, those things just kept rattling around in my brain because 2 and 2 wasn't exactly 4. So if that answers your question, okay, but I don't know if it does or not, but that's my answer.
It did. And so tell me about what you're doing now. Tell me about this documentary that you're making.
Well, look, people have been coming to me for the past couple of years. And when I say people, sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's, friends around Hollywood who are in the Hollywood community. Sometimes it's fans, of the podcast and of my book. We have a pretty big community online that follows my NSNG protocol, no sugars, no grains. But usually it comes around whenever another documentary comes out. And usually it's a vegan documentary. Like when Cowspiracy came out, people say, whoa, what are you trying to kill us with that saturated fat? And more recently, this movie came out on Netflix called What the Health? And everyone gets up in arms and goes, wait a minute, what if these people are right? Well, they're not right. They've lied to you because that's the default setting of the vegan community. Now, I'm not saying that's the default setting of a vegan. Most people become vegans because of the ignorance of the facts of what veganism really is. And I get it if someone doesn't want to eat an animal and doesn't want to kill an animal and eat the flesh. That I get. But when people think that they become vegan because it's a healthier way to live, it's just not. And the doctors and the powers that be in the vegan cult, as it will, they lie to people left and right, right and center. They'll say things like eating 1 egg is equivalent to smoking 5 cigarettes. They'll say that an egg or meat will cause type 2 diabetes, which is ludicrous. Because in order to have type 2 diabetes, you have to have an abundance of sugar. An egg has no sugar. Meat has no sugar. They'll just make up lies. They'll say that, saturated fats will clog your arteries and kill you immediately if you just look at a steak or a hamburger. So then the backlash is people always come to me and go, well, you should do a documentary and show the other side. And you can show those vegans. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to do that. I want to do a documentary where I just tell the truth. I want to bring everybody to the table. I want to bring the paleo people. I want to bring doctors. I want to bring the vegans. I want to bring everybody to the table and go, hey, here's where we are. Where's the truth? And I want the truth to come out. There's a universal truth, but no one ever, everyone's got an agenda. I don't have an agenda. I just want the truth to come out. And every time I would look around for money, because to do a movie, it takes a lot of money. I went to my friends over at Corolla Digital and said, what would this take to do? And they said, anywhere from $350,000 to $500,000. I don't have that kind of money. So when you go look for that money, the people that would put it up are people who would have an agenda. The beef council, the dairy council, the egg people, And I didn't want that. I didn't want people to go, oh, wait a minute. Of course he's saying that. The beef people paid for that, right? So the only way I could get around that is by crowdfunding this so that normal people can pay for the making of the movie, and then I'm allowed to go tell the true story and get the truth down. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're crowdfunding. We have an Indiegogo campaign. It's called Fat, a documentary. We have an Indiegogo. People can go right to fatdocumentary.com, pull it up, and donate.
How long is this Indiegogo campaign? When is it over?
Well, it depends on, right now we're just coming up on the first week. Which means we probably have about 23 or 24 days left as of this recording. Steve, when is this show coming out?
It's going to come out later this week on Friday, so 4 days from now.
Okay, so I'm sure we'll have a good 20 days left in the campaign. As we sit today, right now, I just went to Indiegogo. We just went past $65,000. We're at 43% of what we want. We're trying to do this movie for 150. And to be honest, Steve, at 150, I got a good feeling I'm not taking a salary from this. The filmmaker, Peter Pardini, who's coming off of an award-winning film about the band Chicago. The film is called Chicago Now More Than Ever by Peter Pardini. He and I have teamed up. We're putting our efforts together. We're not taking anything for this. As a matter of fact, I said that if we get $150,000, any money we need on top of that will come out of my own checkbook. So I'm already several $1,000s out of pocket. I think when we just added it up, I'm already $7,000 out of pocket just to get this rolling. I think we've done good in the first week to get $65,000, but we're not there yet. We're not even halfway. So that's why it's important for all of your fans to go to saddocumentary.com and give. And every donation counts, whether you give $5 or $5,000. It all counts. And we appreciate any and all donations we get.
Now, I have already donated because I'm a big believer in what you're preaching. It has helped me.
Thank you.
It has helped me in more than just my weight. Before I did that, like when I met you, I guess I went to the doctor about probably a year before I interviewed you the first time. And I was having lung problems. For pretty much my whole life, I would have respiratory infections that would turn into pneumonia about twice a year. And finally, I couldn't kick it one time, and my doctor, after multiple rounds of steroids and antibiotics, and I was still sick, my doctor referred me to a pulmonologist, which is a lung doctor. And the lung doctor did a pulmonary function test to see how much of my lungs I was using, and I was just about 40%. I was using about 40% of my lungs. And so
wow.
my doctor, prescribed me a whole bunch of different inhalers and corticosteroids and all that stuff. And what he told me, and this was the first time I met him, as he was talking to me and telling me all these things that I needed to take, with the back of his hand, he kind of slapped me on my stomach and said, and also you need to do something about this weight. And I said, wow, that's wildly rude. I just met you, but you're a doctor, so okay. But, and he said, well, it's going to be hard for you to exercise if you can't breathe. So let's try to get your breathing in order, and then we can work on your weight. Well, then I started paying attention to what you were saying. And, I started pulling some of that weight off. And at about the 15-pound loss mark, I went back to the doctor for a checkup. And he noticed just by looking at me that I was thinner, and, they did the pulmonary function test again, and I was up to about 55%. And he said, to tell you the truth, Steve, the weight loss probably helped more than all of this medication that I've prescribed you. So just keep doing that, and, we're getting better. So it's not just my weight and that I feel and look better. It's also helping with my lung capacity. So again, thank you, sir.
Well, you're welcome. But as I tell everyone, I did absolutely nothing. You did all the work. People, I get all these thank yous online every day, and all they, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I tell everyone, no, don't thank me. All I did was make suggestions. You did all the work, and that's just the bottom line to all of it. You did the work, and congratulations to you. I don't like to take credit for any of that. So that's just where I stand on it. So I'm happy for you and what you're doing. So keep up the good work. By the way, I want to add this. I'm going to give you an exclusive, because if I remember right, you and I, we met through Adam Carolla, right? Is that how you figured out who I was? Or
yeah, that's right.
Okay. Adam, and I appreciate Adam Carolla a lot. He's been a champion of what I'm doing for a while now, for a couple of years. And I went on his show about a week ago, the big show, as they call it over there, the ACS show, Adam Carolla show. I talked about it. I talked about, doing this movie and the whole thing. And the next day the show came out, and Mike August called me and he said, hey man, are you interested in any distribution for your movie? And I went, absolutely I am. He goes, man, this is very important and we want to be part of it. So I'm already in talks with those guys. I don't have a deal signed as of this recording, but we're looking at signing a deal sometime this week to get distribution going with Adam Carolla's company, Chassis. So that's how important this film is. That they want behind it already. They're already in to be behind this. Think about the magnitude of this. For $150,000, we could get this movie done, right? Which is like pittance, because movies cost a hell of a lot more than that, right? So we get this movie done for $150,000. And then we put this movie out, and it goes out big because it's done through Chassis. And this movie will be, you'll see it on Amazon. You'll see it on Netflix. When you get on an airplane, it's a possibility your flight will have this movie. We will be able to get this information out, right? And that's all we're trying to do here is get this information out to people. And we have a great opportunity here, and we can make this happen. But none of that will happen unless we get past square one. And that's making the movie. And that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to get people to pitch in, to give us what we need to make this happen.
Well, I'm certainly on board. Nate Adams over at Chassis Media, I think he kind of runs things over there. He's a really professional, badass dude. He's been on here before. He's really impressive, so I think you're going to be in good hands. I look forward to it. Can you tell people a little bit about the different levels, the reward levels? And don't skip my favorite one.
Go on. I'm guessing I know what your favorite one is.
I'm guessing
I'm going to pull it up right now while we're talking, and I'll tell people what you can get. And by the way, I had a great conversation with Nate Adams the other day. They're super excited about this whole thing. Okay, at the $5 level, we basically give you a hearty thank you. Thank you for being part of this. At $15, you get a booklet, a PDF of all of the transcripts of all the doctors we interview. And by the way, the doctors we have signed on already is a who's list from around the world. And I do mean around the world. Rangan Chatterjee from the BBC has come. He's flying in a couple of days. We're going to record him already. We're going to have Gary Fetke from Tasmania. We're talking Tim Noakes from South Africa. We're getting the best doctors from around the world, and that PDF booklet is going to have the transcripts of all of that. You get that for $15, plus your name is in the credits. At $25, this is the most popular one because we've already given away 386 of these. So 386 people have given us $25. You get a digital download of the movie. So you have, for $25, you get the movie to keep. You get the PDF and you get your name in a credit. So that's the most popular one so far. 111 people have done the $50 claim. You get everything I said earlier, plus extra features that are not going to be in the movie. We're going to have stuff that we couldn't leave in the movie, pieces of interviews. Plus again your name in the credits. At $85, you get extra features. You get everything above the PDF, the digital download, your name in the credits, and you get a complete interview audio. So there'll be an audio file included in that. At $100, you get a limited edition fat documentary T-shirt, along with the digital download. You get the extra features, your name in the credit, and there's a couple more items. There's also a limited edition hat you could get at $100. So there's two different $100 things. Actually, I think there are three. And by the way, we have a lot of people claiming those $100 deals. We have 195 people claimed one of the $100 deals, 14 at the other. And we just put up the one with the hat yesterday, the trucker ball cap. And as of right now, we have 10 people that claim that. I think this is the one you're interested in.
It is.
We have 3 people claim it already. Is the $250 one, is that the one you're talking about?
It certainly is.
Are you one of the people that claim that one?
I need to know. I am not one of those 3 people.
Okay, at $250, you get all the stuff you heard about. The digital download, the PDF, the extra features, blah, 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 name and credits. And you also get a signed conch shell. It's signed by me.
Now, why is it conch
Do
shell?
I need to explain what that is?
You certainly do.
Okay.
It will be the picture that goes up with this episode.
Oh,
Actually, the way it's going to work
Okay.
is there's going to be a picture of you and Gina at the Adam Carolla Studios holding a plate. And on that plate is what Vinny's about to tell us.
Yeah, and you're the guy who did the plate, right? If I remember right.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I have that plate hanging in my kitchen now. We get a kick out of it.
I know. Serena told me.
Here's the thing. When I was younger, for the audience, people that don't know, I was a model. And I did not go out and intend to be a model. That was not the case. And no, I wasn't discovered at the mall one day or anything else. And no, I didn't go with a friend to a modeling thing and they didn't take their friend. You know, that's what people always tell. Oh, no, I didn't want to be a model. I just showed up at this thing with my friend and they said, hey, you know, they picked me out of, none of that happened to me. What happened was I moved to LA to be a trainer. I was a trainer in New Orleans in the early days of people being trainers. I moved out to LA to kind of further my career, but I didn't know a single soul out here except an actress named Alexandra Paul, who later became a big deal on Baywatch. You know, she was one of those chicks. And I was like really hurting for money. And Alexandra said to me, she goes, have you ever considered modeling? Because I'm not an actor. I don't know how to act or do anything. And I said, no, aren't models kind of skinny guys that walk up and down runways? And she goes, no. She goes, not in LA. They need guys like you. She saw me we were at the beach one day and I had my shirt off and you know, I'm a pretty ripped out guy, especially back then. I was young and really ripped out. She goes, people just don't look like you. They look for models like you in Hollywood for all those beer ads and Coca-Cola ads and all that kind of stuff. They want in shape looking guys with ripped abs. And I was like, you don't say. She goes, no. She goes, you would be working tomorrow if you went down to one of these agencies. They would just put you to work right away. So I did, and turns out Alexandra was right. The first agency I went to picked me up, gave me a contract. They actually paid for my pictures. I didn't have pictures or anything. And they put me to work right away. And early on, within 15 or 20 jobs, and I was working all the time. None of the work dealt with me keeping a shirt on. It was all, you know, kind of half naked on the beach, all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, one of my jobs, Steve, I never tell this to anyone, was they would use guys like me in the show Baywatch back then because the actors didn't have good enough abs, so they would do cutaways to me and this other guy. They had about 3 of us. And they would do cutaways, and then they would cut back to the actor's face. They were very strategic about doing that. So in all those scenes where they were running down the beach slowly and diving in the water and all that, yeah, the actors hardly ever got wet. It was always me. And they did that with the chicks, too, for Pam Anderson and all those. They did that for everybody. They had doubles. So we spent a lot of time on stuff like that. But this jewelry company called, it was like a private jewelry company. This guy sold estate jewelry or something, called the agency and said, we need a really buffed out guy and this and that and the whole thing. And they sent me and I got the gig. And we went down to Malibu to shoot this photo shoot. And I was wondering if it was a real shoot because they were like, yeah, you need to get naked. And I was like, what? Huh, what? Yeah, you need to get naked. And I went, well, this is porn. What do you? He goes, no, we're going to cover your junk with this conch shell. And I'm like, there was no cell phones. I couldn't call my agent and go, is this kosher? What are we doing here? I don't know about this. You know, none of that. I was like, all right, I need the money. I guess I'll do this. And that photo ended up going around the world. It was in W magazine, you know, Women's Wear Daily or whatever. You know, it was in an international magazine, and on that day, I became an international model. That was my first international gig, which is odd to me because a few months earlier, I was living in New Orleans. I was like on the bayou fishing, and now here I am going my shirtless, my naked body's going around the world. It made no sense to me. So that's the shot you're talking about. And for some reason, I can't live that photo down because it literally looks like I'm sodomizing a conch shell.
Oh, it does. And that is why I did not get one. I do not want that shell in my house.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be that shell.
Sure.
Yeah,
so you claim.
That was a big wooden conch shell, by the way. It wasn't an actual conch shell. People, whenever I go and do meet and greets or do speeches and all that, people now bring conch shells for me to sign.
Oh my God.
We went, wait a minute. People actually want this, so why don't we just make it one of the prizes you get?
That is hilarious.
So there's the conch shell story.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Should I tell you more about the prizes, or you just wanted to get to the conch shell?
I really just wanted to get to the conch shell. Everybody go look. There's more prizes. If you want to throw more money at him, there's other things that you'll get. But now, if it wouldn't be a spoiler, can you tell me about whether or not Mr. Kellogg is going to come up in this documentary?
It will. The whole idea behind Dr. Kellogg and the fact that he thought that both sex and or masturbation was like a horrible thing and no one should ever have sex or masturbate. And the reason he created cornflakes was that you can eat cornflakes because he figured it would keep people from masturbating. I don't know how he came up with that, but that's what he was trying to do. And I'm not making that up, by the way. This is not hyperbole. This is real.
Well, I can't wait to hear about this vision.
Yeah, some woman had a vision one night and said, no, we shouldn't eat meat anymore, and Kellogg's went along with it.
All right, cool. Well, give us the details one more time about where people can go.
They can go to fatdocumentary.com. It's an Indiegogo campaign, it's a donation, and, like I said, right now it's sitting $65,000. But, yeah, we're pushing hard. We want to get this over the 100,000 mark. Actually, right now we're looking to get another 10,000 so that we could be right at halfway. It'd be nice to be at halfway. That's what we're doing. That's what we're pushing.
All right. So what I'm going to do, because I love Vinnie Tortorich so much, is the first 40 people who donate and send me a copy of that email confirmation, I will send you a set of 3 pair of silk cufflinks. So
wow.
Wow,
that's very generous.
The first 40 people who do that and then email me a copy of that confirmation at fascinationstreetpod@gmail.com, I will send you a set of 3 silk cufflinks.
Steve, I cannot thank you enough. That's very generous, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think I misspoke. It's actually not a set of 3. It's 3 sets of 2. Right. So 3 pair of cufflinks. Silk cufflinks.
Oh, cool.
Well, is there anything that I didn't cover that you wanted me to cover?
No, I think we got it. I think you got it right there. I don't want to belabor the point. I'm looking forward to doing this documentary, and I'm excited about it.
Well, I am looking forward to watching it. And everybody, if you haven't already, which I'm pretty sure you have, go back and check out the 2-part episode with Vinnie, where he talks about how this lifestyle pretty much saved his life. So go check those out. They're in the back catalog, and you will enjoy them. And then also I did interview his lovely lady friend, Serena Scott Thomas, and you should check that one out too.
Yeah, Serena's a much better interview than me, folks. Go check that out.
That's true. No, that's actually all true.
Okay. That's very accurate. Yeah.
All right. Vinnie, thank you so much. Everybody go check out VinnieTortorich.com. He has a podcast and a bunch of really cool information, as well as a PDF on kind of guidelines of what can help, what to eat and what not to eat, sort of, and what it'll do for you. There's that PDF there, and check out his podcast. Thanks again, Vinnie.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
I really appreciate you, and don't forget, man, you're the first return guest, so thanks a lot.
Well, thank you for having me again, man, and I look forward to being on again one day soon.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later, but hey, maybe when it's all done and it comes out, you can come back on and we can talk about distribution and where people can check it out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, whenever you want me on, I'm happy to do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Vinnie.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Hey, guys, if you like what I'm doing, rate and review the podcast on iTunes and wherever else you're getting the podcast. And if you do order things from Amazon, it would really help me out if you use that Amazon banner that's on the website at fascinationstreetpod.com and just click through whenever you're buying stuff from Amazon. You can click through the first time and then save that to your favorites or bookmark it, and every time you use it, you don't have to go to the website to get there. I appreciate it, guys. Enjoy. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.